Good morning, Multicultural Art class. Today we are still in the country of Austria and we are going to learn about an artist who was born there. This artist is named Gustav Klimt, and you will probably recognize some of his paintings. He's very popular even now. A lot of people have his art as posters on their walls. One of his most popular paintings is called The Tree of Life, and it's actually the middle part of a triptych. Now, in the art world, what a triptych is, the word try means three. So a triptych is 1, 2, 3. One artwork made of 3 parts. So in the middle of this triptych that Gustav Klimt painted is the Tree of Life. And it's very beautiful. A lot of people enjoy looking at it because of the patterns and the swirls. So he liked to paint things in a very stylized way. He actually was part of a similar movement that was happening in Austria called the Austrian Secession. It's similar and kind of part of the Art Deco, Art Nouveau movement of art, which is what our Charles Mackintosh, who we learned about a couple weeks ago. His roses in that style that he made. It's kind of a similar style, and it was kind of a similar time period in art history. So that his style is called Art Nouveau, and he used he liked to draw humans, and he liked to draw things from nature. He was inspired by trees and flowers, similar to Mackintosh. And his style for making trees, or at least the Tree of Life, was to create them with swirly branches and then lots of patterns. So his tree has a big thick trunk, and then it comes out, and instead of sticking out and doing that Y tree that I taught you before, it's the same thing, only at the ends we want to swirl. We want to swirl the ends. So I will guide you through that pretty soon here. But I want to talk a little bit more about Mr. Klimt and his style. Like I said, he was born in Austria, and he liked to paint things that had symbolism in them. So he did not paint a lot of real things or realistic looking things. He painted things from reality but changed them. He stylized them, and he used them to make things that mean something else. Kind of like we talked about, our surrealist paintings used a lot of symbolism. They drew things that represented something else for them. So in Klimt's painting, The Tree of Life, there's a lot of symbolism in his tree. It represents wisdom and protection and strength and beauty. It also represents kind of the connection between heaven and earth. So the branches reach up to the sky and the roots reach down into the earth. So it kind of connects the two. And the swirls in his branches are very interesting because they kind of lead your eye to look closer at the painting, and then you see other details that you might have missed. So when we see those swirls, we kind of want to follow them with our eye, and then we'll notice other little things that he added in there. So there's a lot of patterns, which is a repeating motif. We've done lots of different pattern work in our classes before, and swirls. And he also used a lot of gold. So a lot of his paintings actually have like a shimmer to them because he used like gold leaf with his paint. Now, I don't expect that you have gold leaf lying around your house. If you do, and your parents say yes, you could use it. It's actually an art material that you can buy at the art store. It's very, very, very thin, and you can put it on and rub it into paintings and things. And it's really fun to work with. I don't actually have any gold leaf today, and I don't expect you to use gold leaf, so we probably won't be doing that part of Klimt's work. However, I happen to have some gold colored gel pens And so I'm going to be using my gold gel pen to add a little bit of my patterns at the end. And I encourage you, if you have a Sharpie or a gel pen like this that's in silver or gold, you could use that to add some detail. If you don't, that's totally fine, and we'll just use the white paint and other materials to add the patterns. But to make it even more Klimt-like, I'm going to add a little bit of that gold with my gel pen. So let's get started with our art. For my tree of life, I'm going to be using the watercolor paper as my background paper. It's nice and sturdy and thick. And then I've got a variety of warm colored construction paper here. You can see that it's scraps. There's you know, drawings on it from the kids. There's notes on it. So I'm going to be using the parts that don't have stuff on it. But it's okay that it's kind of looks ruined because I'm going to be tearing up the pieces. Kind of like we tore up pieces to collage on our Brazil Christ the Redeemer picture. I'm going to be tearing up pieces to collage on the background for our tree. But we're not trying to make anything with this. This is just a collage background. So I don't want you to think about, you don't have to worry about like a sunset or anything like that, or like necessarily a pattern. We're just going to fill the whole white paper with these warm colored pieces of tissue paper. I mean, not tissue paper, construction paper. I've started by getting a pile ready of torn up pieces of construction paper, and now I'm going to be using Mod Podge to glue it all on and an old paintbrush. If you do not have that, I think that a glue stick will work just fine. You could also take some Elmer's glue and put a little bit in a small container and add just a tiny bit of water to it to make it more runny and paintable, and that will be very similar to Mod Podge if you'd like to do it that way. If you have Mod Podge, you can do it just like me. Remember that if you are using a paintbrush with Mod Podge, you need to wash it right away after you're done. Don't let that Mod Podge dry on your paintbrush. That's why I use an old paintbrush just in case, but even so, I don't want to let the Mod Podge dry on my brush, because as soon as it does, that brush is completely ruined, and that's sad. So I'm letting some of mine overlap, and if they do, I'll just add a little bit of Mod Podge. There. But I'm putting glue first on my paper, and I'm placing my pieces, making sure they all lay down flat. I'm trying not to let any white paper show through. kind of painting over them with the glue as I go with Mod Podge, because that helps me overlap them, because then it's sticky on top. And then when I'm done, it gives it a nice uniform flat look. If you're just using a glue stick, don't worry about that. All right, so my collage background is all done. It's shining. Okay, it's all done. All of my glue is dry, and so I'm ready to paint my tree of life on top. We're going to be using black paint to do that, and we're going to start in the same way that I taught you how to draw a tree before, which is to make a Y. So our tree of life is going to be pretty symmetrical on our paper. So we're going to start our trunk of the tree right in the middle of the page. I'm not going all the way down to the bottom though, because I want to make some roots, some kind of swirly roots. So those I need room for. Now I'm coming up to make the rest of my Y. Now remember, we want to kind of taper it, so I'm going to connect those a little nicer there. Alright, now instead of making all those swirly Ys right away, all those smaller Ys connected right away, I want you to make a swirl. I've got 2 swirls. Now I'm going to start making more branches and more swirls. I encourage you to look at the picture of Klimt's tree of life to kind of look at his style and the way he makes his swirls. He's got very intricate, tight swirls. You can try to do that if you want. I don't think my paintbrush is small enough for me to do that. Maybe I'll switch to a smaller one for the smaller branches so I could do that too. See how that's a Y as well? So it's the same idea, you're just making the branches more curvy and swirly. I think I need a smaller paintbrush. I always like to have a paper towel next to me too, in case I need it. Painting is messy business. That's half of what makes it fun though, right? So the farther away these branches are getting from the big trunk, the skinnier they are. Just like a regular tree. And it's okay if it goes off the page too. spent some time adding some patterns to my tree, and I even added some down here in the roots. I noticed on Klimt's actual Tree of Life painting that he did a lot of like floral patches, patchwork type quilty looking things on the bottom here, so you can play with that too. So mostly on the roots I only did the background pattern, and on the tree I did the actual tree to kind of make it distinct from under the ground and above the ground. So that's our painting inspired by the Tree of Life by Gustav Klimt. I hope you enjoyed, and if I used those gel pens to do my designs, but feel free to use just white paint to do that. Even some yellow paint would look good too if you don't have any gold. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.